you're here to find some underappreciated shows or maybe hear me praise a few old favorites, you've come to the right place. This is Restless in Peace, and today we're spotlighting 7 Days War. I'm Fennec, and I've been an anime fan for almost a decade and have watched hundreds of shows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends. If you haven't seen the 7 Days War movie, spoilers ahead. 7 Days War is about a group of teens who decided to run away from home for a week. Running away from home was used as a means of delaying one of them from moving away and gave them just enough time to celebrate her birthday. They run away to an abandoned coal factory where they encounter a young girl as she's being chased by immigration. They decide to help her escape the immigration officers and end up barricading themselves in the abandoned factory and do everything they can to keep immigration out. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about Japan's immigration law as well as how the characters in the movie could have reached an ending that was both good and legal, because the actual ending, although heartwarming, probably isn't the most legal. I will take a moment, though, to say that I am not an expert on law, nor do I have any background in it, so take everything I say on those topics with a grain of salt. During day 2, while barricaded in the factory, immigration decided to conduct their first serious raid on the factory. During this raid, the teens pushed back using various means that I very much disapprove of. They were actively endangering the physical well-being of the immigration officers and could have caused them serious injury or even death. Now, putting that aside, they filmed the entire thing, edited it, and put it up online. It went viral instantly, and now comes the part of what I think they could have done with that publicity in order to reach a good and legal ending. But first, let me tell you a little story. Malette is a little girl from Thailand who moved to Japan with her parents 1 year ago. They moved to Japan after hearing that Japan has many job opportunities. But when they got there, her parents struggled to find a job. Things were rough, and to make matters worse, immigration found out that they're illegal immigrants. So they did the only thing they thought of. They fled. And while fleeing, Malette got separated from her parents and ended up in an abandoned coal factory, just scraping food from the nearby area to stay alive. Just sitting there most of the time, actually, waiting for her parents to come and get her. I'd say that's quite a heart-wrenching story. Wouldn't you? Well, if they would have used their newfound fame to put Malette's story out there and advertised it a bit, they could have gotten the public to support them. Why is public support important, you might ask? Well, in order to answer that, we need to go to Japan's Immigration Control and Refugee Recognition Act, specifically Article 50, Paragraph 1. Even if the Minister of Justice finds that a filed objection is unreasonable in making the determination set forth in Paragraph 3 of the preceding article, the Minister may grant the suspect special permission to stay in Japan if the suspect falls under any of the following items. After this, they list 4 categories that allow the Minister of Justice to make such an exception. But we really only care about number 4, which is the Minister of Justice finds other grounds to grant special permission to stay for reasons other than the previous items. Now, all this basically means that Japan's Minister of Justice may grant illegal immigrants special permission to stay in Japan as long as he can come up with whatever reason. And I don't imagine that coming up with something on the fly would be all that hard. Now, just to close up a couple of holes, if you remember when I was talking about Article 50, Paragraph 1 like 2 seconds ago, I mentioned something about Paragraph 3. Now, just to put your mind at ease, all Paragraph 3 says is basically if the Minister of Justice wants to let a foreigner stay in Japan for the mid to long term, they have to get an immigration inspector to issue a residence card to that foreigner. So now you might be wondering instead, how is disobeying government officials and posting online videos that mock government officials going to help Mallet get special permission to stay in Japan from a government official? Well, that has to do with the publicity I mentioned earlier. Do you remember when you were a kid and there was such a thing called peer pressure? Well, that still exists in adulthood and can actually be a very important part of politics. Think of this. Mallet's story goes viral. Everybody and their grandma has heard about it. Now the kid is in danger of being deported. The public being so invested in the kid's story put very heavy pressure on the Minister of Justice. That pressure could very well be enough for him to just not want to deal with the bad publicity and give Mallet special permission to stay in Japan. Frankly, just so this publicity nightmare goes away. It's a bit more of a long shot than what they actually do in many ways, but it's legal. Maybe a bit of a gray area, but still, legal. Now, I genuinely believe this is the best solution for Mallet and her parents, even though it's not as likely to succeed. I support this for the sole reason of it's legal, meaning they don't have to look over their shoulder for the rest of their lives. At least personally, I'd prefer having that peace of mind and go through a long and grueling legal process rather than being scared of getting caught every day for the rest of my life. While saying that, I am aware that I don't know much about their personal situation, and as such, my theoretical advice could be completely off the mark and wrong for them. But the whole point of this podcast is for me to express my opinion, so deal with it. Finally, I do recommend you watch the 7 Days War anime movie if you haven't, and please notify me through the comments section if you're on YouTube or through my website if you're from one of the podcast's platforms. You can access the website in the show notes below. Tell me what you think about the episode. Did you like it, and would you like to hear more episodes like it? Or you can just comment whatever you want. Please subscribe and share with friends. It helps a lot, and I greatly appreciate it.